Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Romeo von Hermann. I am the host of the P3 show, and this is January the 16th, the first show of the year. And it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of great stuff that we're going to be talking about. I know we have a lot of stuff to cover as the year goes on. So I want to begin on one of the fundamental things in our city, public works, which I think plays a vital role in our city. And as such, I took the liberty to invite one of the best directors, if not the director of the Public Works Department here in our city, Chapin Spencer. And I'm incredibly grateful to him for him being here. I know he's got a lot of work to do, so thank you for making the time. I really appreciate it.
Great.
And,
glad to be here, Romeo.
Thank you, sir. And just before we go into any deeper into the segments, how are you doing? How's your family doing? How's your staff doing? And I know it's been quite many years since you took over this job. And how's everything first and foremost?
Great. It's been 11 years at the helm of Public Works, and I just want to say it's been the premier gift and honor of my life to be able to steward the critical resources of this great community of Burlington. And our job at Public Works goes well when people don't think about us because they get up and are able to flush the toilet, turn the water on, get to work without having congestion or potholes, and be able to do so much of their life that we are enabling the vitality of the city to grow upon. It is truly an honor. I joke that some people like to play the video game Sim City. I get to live playing actual city every day, and it is an incredible honor. And thanks for letting me on the show and talking a little bit about what's going on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we're going to begin in earnest with the current projects or activities that are happening in the department. And if you can elaborate on anything that's exciting that is going on, not just projects, but with public works in general here in the city. And some of the stuff that is happening, whatever is going on, just kind of sort of like an update, if you would.
Sure. You know, it's an exciting time in Public Works. There are generational projects underway that are seeking to get us on a firmer ground for the next decade, 2 or 3 ahead. For better or worse, we have a number of challenges at our doorstep. Take our wastewater system, for example. There are increased regulations coming to us from the state in terms of limiting phosphorus into Lake Champlain. And at the same time, our wastewater plant has not been, our 3 wastewater plants have not been comprehensively renovated for 30 years. And as you may know, Romeo, that wastewater plants are very harsh environments. And they are, the industry standard is that they should be comprehensively updated, renewed every 20 to 25 years. So unfortunately or fortunately, we are a bit on borrowed time. And so we are bringing a bond proposal to the City Council for their consideration and then asking them to place it on the ballot for Town Meeting Day coming up in March. To be able to make some of these critical comprehensive repairs and upgrades that, one, will address the end-of-life equipment that is failing, 2, will help us even improve our operations and reduce the amount of phosphorus going into Lake Champlain, and 3, enabling us to have the capacity to allow the housing growth that we all want to see so that we can provide more housing, workforce housing, for people who want to live in Burlington but can't afford it.
Wow.
So that's just one of the projects we have underway, Romeo, and that is a large one. The bond request that we are asking the City Council to consider on January 27th is $152 million.
Okay.
That includes an investment in our wastewater system and our stormwater system as well.
Okay, and that is the one that is going to be on Town Meeting Day.
Yes, okay. There are 3 bond requests that are being proposed to be on Town Meeting Day. Mm-hmm. One is what we're calling the Lake Bond,
okay,
and that is the bond for wastewater and stormwater.
Mm-hmm.
Ballot request item number 2 is a water bond that is looking to upgrade our water, a portable water system. Some upgrades at the water treatment plant, but largely a reservoir upgrade up on top of the hill. Our reservoir, which people may know is right next to Main Street across from UVM, is 7 million gallons of drinking water that is so critical to supplying what we call the high service on the hill of Burlington. We have 2 water systems because our city is so hilly.
Right.
And that reservoir supplies not just the homes on the hill, but the critical Level 1 trauma center of UVM Medical Center, which is the only Level 1 trauma center in the state of Vermont.
Wow.
And so we take our responsibility very seriously to make sure that they have a dependable, reliable supply of potable water.
Okay. So that water reservoir that's on Main Street, is that the one you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. I never knew that was a water reservoir because I always wondered what that was. Just like, it looks like a bulge that goes up and then it caps off on the top.
That's correct.
Okay. And you said how much is it?
So the
money
water,
being asked
the water bond is $20 million.
Okay.
And that was the second bond. The third bond request coming to voters. So we have a wastewater stormwater bond request, a water bond request, and then a city general fund bond request. The city's general fund covers things like fleet vehicles, fire trucks, snow plows. It covers sidewalks and streets. It covers the city's facilities, the city's technology. And all of these pieces are the kind of core function of the city.
Right. Is that administered by your department as well, the just general fund request as well?
We oversee streets and sidewalks. Facilities are managed by the Parks Central Facilities team.
Right.
But we also manage the fleet program. So we help support most of the departments within the city: police, fire, Burlington Electric, the water resources team, with equipment maintenance and fleet support.
Okay.
So we help keep the city moving across departments.
Perfect. And what I was wondering was, these projects that are, the Department of Water and Power is requesting as a bond during town meeting day. I'm wondering that the projects that are ongoing right now, like fixing Main Street, was that the previous bond request that has been approved and then now that is happening?
So how we fund our infrastructure in Burlington is complex.
Okay.
Some of the base maintenance work of the city is funded through property taxes, which go into the city's general fund. So that largely funds things like fleet and at times some street and sidewalk work, central facilities, the buildings of the city. But then there's a street capital tax that voters pay as part of their property tax. That includes dedicated funding for streets and sidewalks. And then there are bonds that supplement those sources, because unfortunately, property taxes, the base property tax payments, and the street capital tax, and some other small taxes, the public safety tax and the penny for parks tax, do not fully cover the capital needs of the city. And so periodically the city requests voters' consideration to borrow for assets that last longer than 10, 15, 20 years.
Right. Wow, okay, amazing. And I was wondering, are there any other additional projects we're not aware of that you're at liberty to share with us, or?
Absolutely.
Any exciting stuff?
You had suggested Great Streets Main Street. That's definitely a generational project to overhaul the utilities under Main Street, as well as the features on the surface of the street. It's going to be a whole new streetscape for the public to enjoy. We were very successful in that project to use tax increment financing, otherwise known as TIF. And that is a funding source that the state grants to the city. in particular areas of the city. This particularly is called the Downtown TIF. And we basically are able to use future grand list growth from new development in the downtown to pay debt service on bonds for investment into that district. So we're able to use the growth in that district to pay for the capital work in that area. So we are pleased to be able to do over $30 million of work to sewer, water systems, the street network, build dedicated bike lanes, put in underground utilities and silva cells for street trees, all of that work without really impacting property taxes, which is a great funding tool that the state provides to particular downtowns across the country, across the state.
Awesome. So right now, from what I see, is that they're working on Main Street from Winooski to, I believe, Cherry Street or something like that. So they're going to be moving up towards Battery Street, like slowly, like block by block or something like that. Do you know how long that's going to take? Because
Great Street,
it's creating a lot of traffic from what I can tell, deviations and stuff.
That's right. In your other job working for GMT, you certainly have had to grapple with the
lots of detours, yes,
that our department has presented to you.
Yes.
This is Great Streets, Main Street's looking to be a 3-year project. We are doing the deepest utility work right now. And you were talking about how we're methodically moving up the hill. That is realigning a main trunk line, a sewer trunk line through our downtown that for the last 150 years has been aligned in the old historic ravine that used to cross-cut downtown. And 150 years ago was filled in, a sewer line was put at the bottom, and the ravine was filled in most places. You can still see it in some parts of downtown. But this 150-year-old brick and stone system, trunk line, is just so old that we can no longer trust that it will continue to survive. And as a result, we're building a bypass to take the sewer through downtown and reroute it in the streets as opposed to under buildings. So that we can better protect the buildings that are in downtown currently and create more development possibilities on other parcels where the sewer line was running underneath as well.
So the concern was that down the line, this could cave in and could create a lot of leakage to the buildings that are above it or something like that, or at least some kind of odor problem.
Structural integrity of buildings.
Right, and also odor problem as well, because there's sewer that is passing through. But you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. I noticed when I walk along Cherry Street, right by in front of the court, there's a weird odor coming from one of the openings, I think, and it's been like this for a month, 2 months now, maybe. This started, at least from what I remember, maybe like summer, and it's still ongoing, really. So I'm like wondering what's going on that. I know it's probably not related to what's happening on Main Street, but I'm guessing that is something that could have happened in the future had it not been taken care of now through this project, I'm guessing.
Yes, downtown is mostly a combined sewer system, which means stormwater and wastewater are conveyed in the same pipe.
Right.
And so you may be smelling at a particular catch basin, which is where stormwater enters the subterranean combined sewer mains.
Okay.
You may be smelling some sewer gas. Feel free to give me the precise location later, and I can follow up on that. But part of what I am very excited about is the infrastructure downtown is old. A quarter of our water mains across the city are over 100 years old. Wow. We have many pipes in our collection and distribution systems that are beyond their useful life.
Right.
We are, through the Great Streets program, really transforming our downtown infrastructure, not just for tomorrow, but for decades. And while we are currently on Main Street with the Great Streets project, Once we complete that, we will be moving to Cherry Street and Bank Street around the new City Place development.
Yes.
To overhaul the streetscape there so that you will have beautiful tree canopies, traffic calming on the streets, and really much more resilient infrastructure below ground.
Okay, and you said Cherry and Bank. Would this include from Church Street through Battery? That's going to right in front of the transit center.
Yes.
That area as well. Do you know when that would happen? Is it like in 2 years from now, maybe?
Yeah, about 2 years would be the first construction. We need to finish Great Street's Main Street,
right.
which is going to take another 2 years, and then we would look to start Bank and Cherry's work thereafter.
Okay. Is there any other exciting project that you're aware of?
Across the city?
Yeah.
It is amazing how much our small department does, and I do want to just give a shout out to our team. I am so fortunate to work with the professionals at Public Works. As I like to say about our plow team, and here we are in the middle of January.
Right, yeah, my goodness.
Is that our narrow streets, the congestion on our roads, the traffic calming that we have in Burlington makes this one of the most challenging places to plow snow.
True.
And our team does it professionally every day at off hours whenever duty calls.
Right.
And the fact that our water team is at the water plant 24/7, we do not have the luxury of working just 9 to 5.
Right. It's like what they say, whenever nature calls, you got to do what you got to do.
That's right. There's always wastewater coming to our plants. There's always potable water that needs to be provided. And we respond when signals are knocked down in the middle of the night or we need to plow the streets. Our team puts Burlington first, even when they need to leave their family in the middle of the night or the weekend to handle work. And one of the reasons I've stuck with this job for 11 years, to be totally honest, is the people who work at Public Works, and it has been a real honor for me.
I'll agree with that sentiment. If you have the right team, it makes the world of difference, really. At a job, so to speak.
Yep.
I appreciate that for that, really. And I wanted to talk about something which is dear to me, because I do have an electric car. And I know Vermont in general is working towards not only electrification, but trying to find a way to address climate crisis. And I know Public Works plays a key role, not just Burlington Electric, but I know Public Works plays a key role in making the infrastructure be more receptive to the new generation of EV standards on housing, to electric, to solar, on the streets, and other projects that are associated with Public Works. And I was wondering, from your perspective, is the Public Works ready for 2025 and beyond EV revolution, as it were, or not just EV as in electric vehicle, but like just the electrification of the city, as it were? Is there anything exciting happening in that department with the city?
Yeah. Thanks for the question, Romeo. There's plenty more to do, but 5 years ago, we put solar on 645 Pine Street, which was a great step. As we manage the city's fleet, we have transitioned a lot of the city's fleet to electric vehicles. I came over to this interview today in one of the city's electric vehicles. We are exploring whether solar can be added to the reservoir, the Water Resources Reservoir, potentially the old landfill on Manhattan Drive. And we're also working with our good friends over at Burlington Electric Department they have just received a federal grant to install more chargers in the public right-of-way. And while we already have existing chargers in the Marketplace garage and in the downtown garage, we know that providing easy on-street access to charging is important as well. And BED received this federal grant, and we will be working with them to roll out enhanced charging across our city.
Okay. In terms of your car fleet, what is the number of vehicles that are EV vehicles in your fleet that you guys have at this point?
Right. I don't have the number right in front of me.
Okay.
I'm going to estimate we have, in terms of wheeled vehicles, motorized vehicles. We have about 240 different vehicles within the city throughout all of the departments. I'm going to guess that 20 to 30 of those currently are EVs.
Okay.
And we continue to evaluate the technology, so we've been able to go to some electric mowers as that technology improves. They are starting to look at electric heavy-duty commercial vehicles, which hadn't really been in the market until recently. But we are exploring whether or not the technology's evolved enough for us to consider electric commercial vehicles. Right now, most of our electric fleet are, vans to pickup trucks and passenger vehicles.
Mm-hmm. What I was wondering was some of the key projects that the department is working on now. From the environmental perspective, what is DPW doing in terms of like incorporating, as it were, the projects? Is there anything interesting that's happening in that direction? Some of the projects that you're working on already?
Yeah. Everything we do has an environmental component, especially when you're looking at managing stormwater or wastewater and building infrastructure that supports transit and walking and biking.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's in everything we do. And the environmental ethic of this community is strong. And we are constantly challenged because we have narrow New England streets, right? Our streets are not as wide as Los Angeles or Salt Lake City.
Right.
Is how to fit all the interests of the city within usually the 66 feet from edge of right-of-way to edge of right-of-way.
Okay.
In that space, you have pedestrian accommodations. You want robust street trees to provide shade and have permeable surfaces. You want to fit stormwater either on the surface or underground for detaining and filtering stormwater. And then you want to accommodate the growing bike traffic that we have in our roadways, provide bus stops for transit, parking for cars, and vehicle lanes for cars. And let me tell you, it doesn't always fit. Mm-hmm. And so we have to make trade-offs. And that is some of the most contentious work that we do, is trying to figure out how to allocate the public right-of-way for the greatest public benefit.
I know Public Works deals with the parking, right?
Yes.
I was wondering, because there are two parking that I'm aware of personally, one by Marketplace and then another one on Hotel Vermont, which both are city parking, I believe. And what I noticed is that, I don't know, when putting up electric vehicle charging spots, do you partner up with the city, or how does that usually work? Or do just, the electric department, do they just make their own decision to put up whatever they want to put up in parking lots and stuff like that? Or is it like a joint partnership?
We coordinate with Burlington Electric. We have a great partnership with them, and they bring their expertise to the table and work with us on siting and make sure that it's a safe place to charge and that the power that can run to that location, that we can sign it appropriately. And if the public has places where they would like to see chargers be expanded to, please feel free to pass along an email or a phone call to DPW or BED to give us your feedback, because we will be rolling out expanded charger options in the future. Right,
because I know the city was working on, and I think this may be directed towards a BED department, but I know when you go to their website, they give you a, because you can now find that on your website, I think it's on their website, where they give you where you can go and charge and all that stuff, but some of the information isn't necessarily helpful. But I promise I'll direct that at them at some point.
Well, one of the things to offer is just the PlugShare is an app and a website, plugshare.org, I believe. If you just Google PlugShare, it will come up, and it lists the charging equipment for all different types of private chargers and public chargers, and the terms of charging at those places. And I travel a lot in an electric car and, have made it to New York and Boston where you need to stop once or twice in a trip.
True.
And PlugShare is a great resource. Same goes in the city of Burlington.
I'm wondering, how long you've been with the Department of Public Works?
11 years.
11 years. For the 11 years that you've been with them, have you seen a trend in the direction of, how do you say, in an environmentally conscious way moving forward? The Department of Public Works and some key projects that they're working that's actually heading in that direction. Have you noticed that on your part?
Absolutely. The previous mayoral administration launched the Net Zero Energy Challenge.
Oh, you're right, yes.
And so all the departments in the city have been charged with moving in that direction. Okay. The current administration, great Mayor Emma Mulvaney-Stanek, has been also supportive of these environmental investments and making sure they're equitable and available to all members of our community.
Right.
So, with that in mind, we are really trying to broaden the accessibility of, I know BED has electrical rebates, and a number of them have higher rebates for lower income residents, which is great. On DPW's end, we are working to improve the bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure so that people who may not own cars for whatever reason, can't drive or too young, also have safe and equitable access to our transportation systems. So it's part of our DNA.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. I know this is very. Because it's almost like a never-ending thing because of the way the environment works and how a lot of the stuff where people need is not available at this time. It's like a work in progress. It's not just unique to public works. But what I was wondering was, of all the projects that are in existence right now, and I know Main Street is, as you said, it's a generational project. Are there any additional projects that are generational projects that you foresee happening in the near future after this is done?
Yes, I'm very proud of what collectively we have done as a community over the past 11 years. When I came into the job, there were a number of projects that we call legacy projects because they've been in development for so long that people never thought they would get done. The Champlain Parkway is obviously a major one that was 50 years in the making. It will be completed next year, 2026. The Shelburne Street Roundabout was a project 20 years in development and was completed. Amtrak to Burlington was completed after decades of the state and the city having a shared goal for reintroducing passenger rail to the city. Now that we've cleared out a lot of the old projects, we have some bandwidth now for tackling future projects. Great Streets downtown are a whole series of projects that we've talked about. The wastewater upgrades to our 3 wastewater plants is another key priority that we are stepping into. There's always going to be paving work. There's always going to be sidewalk work. Another very large project that's on the horizon, though, is the Winooski Bridge.
Oh, yes.
And
that hasn't started, right? It's, I think, 2028 onwards when it'll start.
We expect to start in 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And as folks may know, the 2 most densely populated parts of Vermont and the most diverse parts of our state are really connected by the Winooski Bridge. Right. You have the city of Winooski on one side of the Winooski River and the city of Burlington on the other. This bridge was rebuilt after the flood of 1927, so it will very soon be 100 years old.
Okay.
And it is functionally obsolete. Structurally, it's got some issues, but generally, it is a safe bridge currently.
Right.
But doesn't have protected pedestrian facilities. There's a very narrow walkway on either side of the bridge where if you slip or lose your footing, you fall into the travel lanes.
Oh, wow.
There's no bike accommodations across the bridge. And the Burlington intersection at Colchester, Barrett, Riverside has received a fair number of crashes and needs to be redesigned for the modern age. So
it's a very tricky place to drive, honestly.
Yeah.
I've driven through that spot, and every time that I go through, it's just it's really, I won't say the word scary, but it's like really tricky place to drive. It's just, it puts you a little bit on the edge when you're driving, and
Yep.
you're like, I hope I don't hit anybody, and I hope I don't slip, because there's also that little roundabout just in front of it, and so you have to get into enough. And also, I feel like the lanes are fading away as well. So, which wintertime can even be much more worse because you don't see it, especially when the temperature is what it is today.
Right.
But what I was wondering is that if if that bridge is built, would be named after you, the Chapin Spencer Bridge someday?
No, it does. It does not need to be that. It is a partnership.
It would be
with
exciting. You never know.
It's a partnership with the city of Winooski,
Okay.
with the state of Vermont. A federal raise grant has been secured for that project. It is going to be north of $80 million of an investment.
Can I submit a petition then?
And thanks to the support of our state and federal partners and Winooski's participation, Burlington is only on the hook for 5%
Really?
of the cost. And this is an opportunity that we have now that if we don't take advantage of now,
Right.
we may lose that federal and state support. So I couldn't be happier to work with our partners. There will be a much better design on the bridge. We're going to have wide promenades on each side of the bridge for pedestrians to stop and look at the waterfalls,
Right.
to look at the beautiful views, and also to better accommodate bikes and pedestrians.
I'm guessing that, especially during the rainy season, that this thing gets really, the water goes really high, right? And I'm guessing they'll account for the acoustics and all that stuff, because that bridge has been through a lot in terms of traffic and
Yes.
the water running underneath it and all
The
that
bridge will
stuff.
be
And-
designed to handle peak flows, absolutely. We do not want a repeat of the 1927 flood that washed out the
Oh, wow.
previous bridge.
Oh, that's not good. Okay.
That's why this current bridge was built in 1928, because it did not survive the 27 flood, the previous one.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's not good. So, but it's a work in progress, and it'll start in a few years' time for it to be.
Yes,
Set
and
up
there's
and everything.
great information on the city's website. Feel free to go to Public Works' website at burlingtonvt.gov/DPW for more information.
Thank you. And just so you know, I'm still gonna submit that petition. But I was wondering, is there anything else you would like to share with us before you go?
I would just, maybe offer some of the ways that people can engage
Yes.
with Public Works. So we take great responsibility for maintaining the critical pieces of infrastructure that keep us all safe and healthy. And there are times where you're going to see something that we may not be seeing. So if you are experiencing a sewer plug in your line, that your toilets are not flushing out to the street the way they should be, or you're noticing that there's a traffic sign missing, or a crosswalk needs to be painted, you can always engage with us at SeeClickFix, which is our service request portal. Or if you go on our website, our phone and contact information are there. We really look forward to hearing from members of the public and engaging and giving us input so that what we create and invest in is really meeting the needs of Burlington for today and tomorrow.
I appreciate that, and thank you so much for the in-depth information. And I want to thank you and your team and the entire staff at DPW, because the city wouldn't be functioning without you guys. So I see you guys as the behind-the-scenes churning motor in the car. People don't see the motor, but they see the car moving.
That's right. That's a great analogy, and just to bring it all full circle, Romeo, that motor in the car needs to be maintained.
Yes.
And for years, we have under the past administration, under this administration, we've tried to eat away at some of the deferred maintenance on the city's engine, as it were. And there will be 3 bond proposals coming up to town meeting day, March 2025, should the council support these requests. One addressing deferred maintenance on our wastewater and stormwater systems, a second one on our potable water systems in the reservoir, and a third one on the city's general fund assets of street, sidewalks, facilities, and fleet.
Perfect.
So more information on those can be found on the city's website. You can go to burlingtonvt.gov, and on the homepage there will be links to the city's Thrive bond, which focuses on general fund info, and the city's lake and water bonds focusing on water and wastewater.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, I appreciate that really. I know you got a lot going on, and please do not forget, like Chapin said, go to their website and check it out, all the stuff that we just spoke about, which are available. Also, it's important to remember that town meeting day is not that far. So do remember to check out the city website to see all these bonds that are there, so you can get all the in-depth information and vote with your conscience, as it were. And we look forward to having our next show in February. But in the meantime, I want to thank you for any of all the stuff that's happening and for joining us and watching this show. And I'm grateful, as always, that you've joined me today, really. I know it's been a long coming, so thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You got it. Thanks for asking.
Yes, sir. And yes, and have a wonderful day and Happy New Year to all. Thank you.